What's up YouTube, Capital G here, talking about Firewall Dragon in this video, a card that has seemingly become the most hated monster in all of Yu-Gi-Oh! And all the cards that I believe could possibly end up getting banned because of our buddy Firewall Dragon. Obviously, this would not be the first of the collateral damage that Firewall Dragon has caused. I've compared it to the Dragon Rulers in the past. We've already seen cards like a Assault Core and Grand Soul be banned because of Firewall Dragon, and it's actually kind of crazy. We saw a ton of collateral damage with the Dragon Rulers, cards like Super Rejuvenation and Dragon's Ravine get banned, etc, etc, but the Dragon Rulers were an entire archetype, and Firewall Dragon is causing this type of damage solo. I mean, it's just one card, and I don't want to go down the rabbit hole of should Firewall Dragon be banned or errated, etc, etc, because I just don't feel like those are realistic possibilities. Like, I've pretty much given up on the hope that Firewall Dragon is going to be banned, at least until, the Vrains era is over. Until the Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains anime is over, I don't really see Firewall Dragon being banned. So now I'm pretty much on the, I guess, the backup plan, which I think Konami, R&D, and the OCG, we've seen it already start, and in the TCG, well, I guess we've seen it start too with things like a Assault Core, but I'm basically just on the backup plan now of hit as many cards possible as you need to keep Firewall Dragon alive, and I think that we've seen that happen, and I think we're going to continue seeing that. And the reason I'm making this video is because not just that a lot of people in the community say that we're in an FTK format, whether it be the Gem Knight FTK, which has nothing to do with Firewall Dragon, or the much more prominent Dark World Danger FTK, which has everything to do with Firewall Dragon. On the side note, I actually think that Danger Dark World is the best deck in the format, the FTK version, obviously, because it's the only deck in the format that when it goes off turn one and it gets everything that it wants, it just wins the duel. You can't say that about other decks like Trickstar or Sky Strike or even Goki. I know that people say Goki is like a metaphorical kind of FTK or like a pseudo FTK where you're basically getting like an extra link. Maybe you hit some cards out of your opponent's hand with Gumblar, but there is still the possibility of them getting a Raw Spear mode and breaking your board, or I don't know, maybe an impermanence plus an evenly match and them just leaving you with basically nothing. The Danger Darkwood FTK powered by Firewall Dragon, you don't give your opponents any opportunities to play, you just actually win the duel. And I feel like that's one of the reasons why Firewall Dragon is absolutely so hated right now. But yeah, I just want to talk about these cards because I feel like our ban list, the next one that we're getting, which again could come as soon as 3 weeks, I feel like there could be anywhere from 3 to 5 hits on the list that are specifically in regards to Firewall Dragon. I'm not talking about cards being semi-limited or limited. I'm talking about cards being straight up banned because of Firewall Dragon. I think that they're basically broken down into two groups. There are the cards that are essentially the facilitators. These are the burn damage cards, and then there are the cards that you can kind of summon infinitely. And I did a bunch of research and I did a bunch of like searching on YGO Pro looking for cards that you could either get on the board infinitely or cards that did effect damage. I think it's really interesting, by the way, before I really start talking about these cards, that a card like Mass Driver got banned all the way back during the 5Ds days because of the Frog FTK, yet these Cannon Soldiers and the clones of it, they never really looked at these cards until we got into the Vrains era. I just find that to be very interesting. So first, let's talk about the burn cards, and there are 5 of them in total. If there's a 6th one out there, you guys let me know in the comment section. I think that this is a situation where this is kind of an all or nothing deal, because the problem is, if Konami hits some of these cards, they're completely interchangeable. So you can't just hit one of them and not hit the others, or just hit like half of them and leave the others legal, because the ones that aren't banned, people will just throw those in the deck, because you can kind of use any of these cards to just supplement for the ones that were actually banned. We actually saw this in the OCG where Konami kind of started this process. They have not finished it, by the way. So these these FTKs, well, they don't have the danger archetype there in the OCG, but the FTKs are still quite possible in the OCG because Konami hasn't banned all of these cards, and they actually did it in a little bit of a weird way. On their first kind of wave of hits, they hit Toon Cannon Soldier and the original Cannon Soldier. Then they realized, oh crap, Amazoness Archer does the same exact thing. There's also the Cannon Soldier MK2. Being a high level monster used to be a problem, except Firewall Dragon allows you to get all those monsters out of your hand, and these are all cards that are super old. The original Cannon Soldier, this is a card from Metal Raiders. That's the second second booster set. So obviously hard once per turns didn't start really being a thing until like, you know, late in the Zexal era. So any of these cards that are from GX or that are from the original DM era, they're not going to have hard once per turns. And these cards were all designed in a time in Yu-Gi-Oh where during the GX era and during DM, you know, your normal summon was your main way of getting monsters on the board. There wasn't mass special summoning, so these cards were never going to be thought of as a problem because there was just no way to facilitate enough monsters on the board to really be able to do damage with these cards. I mean, there was the Magical Scientist Catapult Turtle, you know, play back in the day, but that was more or less just a problem with Magical Scientist, that card just letting you get monster after monster after monster by paying life points. When you look at these cards, you know, you can first off, like a lot of them you can just normal summon, so you can use these cards as link material if necessary, and then you can just bring them back from the graveyard with something like Monster Reborn or Soul Charge, which I can imagine you can use in the Danger Dark World FTK. It's not like you need your battle phase. You're trying to win in your first turn anyways. You're not going to be able to attack, and obviously your life points don't matter because you're burning your opponent with Cannon Soldier or any of these other effect monsters to just kill them. None of these cards are hard once per turns, as I've said before. And I do feel like if Konami did hit every single one of these cards, as random as it would be, it pretty much would stop any of these type of FTKs from popping up in the future. And as I've said, they've had a card like Mass Driver banned for years, so it's just really weird that they wouldn't have the monster forms, you know, of Mass Driver essentially also banned. And one thing that people have to realize is if you start hitting these cards, if you hit Toon Cannon Soldier, you know, Amazoness Archer, Cannon Soldier 2, you do have to hit Shadowpriestess of Ohmh. Shadowpriestess of Ohmh is a card that I feel like is going under the radar. I actually think that it's really technically better than Cannon Soldier right now because it's the same level. It has higher attack, which is pretty much never going to be relevant because you're winning turn 1, so it's not like you're attacking or anything, but it actually does more burn damage. It's not even relevant because it is an infinite loop, but you know, Shadowpriestess of Ohmh is a card that, because right now people are using Grapha, which I'll talk about in a second, if you leave Shadowpriestess of Ohmh in the game, people will just play 3 copies of her, and she's a card that, you know, it's not going to be technically a brick because she is dark, and you can just play her with the Danger Dark World. You can use her as an Allure Darkness target, etc., etc. So if Konami does hit one of these cards, they have to hit every single one of them, and that's the reason I say that we could see 5 cards banned on our next ban list, all because of Firewall Dragon and the FTK loops. Then in our second group of cards, we have what I like to call the fodder cards. These are the cards that you will actually launch at your opponent to do the burn damage, and because these guys' effects are also not hard once per turns, they are cards that can effectively be special summoned infinitely as long as some conditions are met. And because Firewall Dragon is in the game, meeting those conditions is simple and easy. First up, we have Grapha. This is a card that a lot of people have been talking about, saying, you know what, Konami might actually just go ahead and ban Grapha. Some people might think that Grapha's off limits because it is part of an archetype. I would say that it's pretty much the heart and soul of Dark World, because when Grapha came out, you know, Dark World won a fucking YCS, so what does that tell you about the power of the card? Although we have seen Konami go directly after archetypes because of Firewall Dragon, again, I will point to a Assault Core, so it wouldn't be something that they haven't done before, banning Grapha, because that's a card that you can infinitely put on the board when you have Firewall Dragon and you have the snow constantly bouncing. The second card, and this is a card that would have to go as well, this is a card from Power the Duelist called Black Patera. This is a card when it's sent from the field to the graveyard except battle, which is not going to happen because, you know, it's turn 0, there is no battle phase. You can actually return it to the hand. Now, since it is not an optional effect, it will never miss timing, and if you tribute it and it goes to the graveyard, you return it to your hand, and you just special summon it from Firewall Dragon. And this is a card that Konami would 100% have to ban as well, because if you just ban Grapha, people would just substitute this card in, and you will have accomplished absolutely nothing, much similar to, you know, your hit on a Assault Core. So I feel like this is a legitimate route that Konami would go. I don't think that it is the route they should go, but we've seen in the past these monsters that can be infinitely special summoned, Samsara Lotus, anyone. This is a random card that they did end up banning, and you know, this would actually end up having less cards be banned, because if you ban the 5 launch cards, the you know, the burn cards, okay, that's fine, but banning this would actually only be 2. Now, personally, I would go after the burn cards, although I will say this, for anybody saying, Cap, if you ban Grapha, you ban Black Patera, eventually leaving Cannon Soldier legal, something else will come up. The way that Konami designed cards now, I'm not so sure about that, because Konami basically puts hard once per turns on like every fucking monster effect in the game now, so that stuff like this, so that loops will not happen. All of these cards are from really old eras of Yu-Gi-Oh! You know, from Power the Duelist, is Black Patera, that's a GX set, and Cannon Soldier, Metal Raider. So the card design now is just so different from them. I'm not necessarily sure that that would pop up. Even when you look at other cards that are being banned, like Samsara Lotus, you know, those are old ass cards from like Phantom Darkness and stuff like that, when hard once per turns didn't exist. But what do you guys think that Konami is going to do? I feel like no matter what they do in the TCG, it kind of needs to be an all or nothing. If they're going to go after the Cannon Soldier, the launchers, the tribute cards, it needs to be all 5 of them. They can't do 2, they can't do 3, because people will just supplement cards in. And if they want to get rid of the special summon infinitely cards, Grapha and Black Patera, then they need to make sure that they ban both of them and not one. Because if they ban Grapha, people will play Black Patera, and it'll basically be just another format of the same exact deck. It'll just look a little bit different, but it'll still be essentially the same thing. But whatever you guys think, leave it in the comment section below. What do you guys think is going to happen when we get our next ban list? Leave that in the comment section below as well. Thank you guys for watching. As always, subscribe if you have not already, and turn on that notification bell for daily videos.